Got it. Got it, got it, got it. You have to say got it as well on Zoom. You have a pop-up window. I'm waiting for YouTube to start the streaming. Got it. Oh, here we go. Okay, I stopped it. I don't want to have echo, and more people are coming. Cool. Oh, Kehaulan. Kehaulani, are you coming with 2 devices? I had to admit you again. You're muted, my dear. You have to unmute yourself, otherwise I can't hear you. Yes, I know you're from Hawaii. Texas.
No, I was on my phone and I wanted to get on my iPad.
Yeah, sure. And I pronounce
your phone.
Sorry? Who was that?
I was simply suggesting that the gal who dialed in from an iPhone and or from a phone and a computer mutes one of them because it was echoing, but it stopped echoing.
I'm going to mute everybody. Just a second. Mute all. And then you have to put up your hand, virtual hand, if you would like to share something or say something, okay? So little bit of house rules. You have reactions, you click on reactions, and then you click on hands up, and then I see it immediately, okay? Right, I'm admitting people. There are still people coming in. Oh my gosh, that's great. There are quite many. That's good. All right, I guess, let me see, check. Hello, everybody who's coming in now. We are just gathering, so to say. And please put in the chat where you are from, where you are joining us from anywhere in the world. It's always nice to see from how many parts of the world we are in one place at the same time. Right. It is recorded for the new ones, but you are not going to be on the recording, so you don't have to worry about that. That's why I'm spotlighted for everyone. But if you want to change, you go on the top right hand corner, you have view, you click on it, and then choose gallery, and I guess you're going to see everybody then, okay? For yourself. So good evening again. And we are going to start, and probably people are going to pop in later on. So the title, it's an interesting topic, I know. I gave it this title because I think it's an interesting aspect of today's life, our lives, to talk about. And it's why choose alternative healing methods like Qigong. And I just wrote, I guess, 2 sentences. Oh yeah, I have some points made here. And I'm going to start with my own story because I think in that way it's going to be much clearer for everybody. It happened many, many years ago, probably around 2007. I worked in a school as a teacher. And suddenly I had so many symptoms, like it started like a flu, like influenza, but actually it got worse. I was vomiting. I was going to the toilet several times. I was really feeling nausea, and couldn't even feel how my balance, which was really strange to me because at that time I even went to Kung Fu classes. So it was really mind-blowing. I mean, like, what the hell is going on? And of course, because I worked at a school, I had to go to the GP to get the paper signed, yeah, so that I can be at home with this illness. And the GP had no idea what's going on with me because it was just going on. It didn't improve at all. And already I knew several techniques by that time, to be honest. And I wanted to do some of them, but I was so weak, and it actually was so bad that when I felt that I have to vomit, I wanted to get out of bed, and actually I didn't have the time to get up. The vomiting landed on my stuff, on my blanket. It was that bad. And so my GP sent me everywhere, kind of like all kinds of examinations. Luckily, at that time, we didn't have to wait for months for specialists to examine us. It's strange to talk about that now, yeah. But yeah, at that time, still, we could go straight to the specialist the next day or 2 days later, max. And they didn't find anything either. I had my liver examined, I had my lungs examined, x-ray, and you name it, blood, of course, blood test, and no improvement. And as I told you, I was already involved in alternative things. So I had this feeling that there is something or several things like grabbing me from here, from the back of my head, and dragging me, like swirling me around. And it was a really strange feeling. And I thought, well, this must be something to do with spiritual world, and I need help because I can't take it off from me. So who could I call? Who could help me? And that's the question I always ask when I feel that I can't solve what I face myself. Then I put the question to the universe, or whatever you want to call it. Who could help me? Who could I ask? And then, of course, I get the intuition, or a name comes into my mind, or I see somebody suddenly, or I remember somebody. And that's how I called a person up whom I knew. And she said, yeah, I could help you, but I'm ill at the moment as well. But I'm going to transfer you to somebody else. And she gave me another lady's phone number. And I knew that person as well because we attended the same school. We studied astrosophy together. Astrosophy is well, I can say it's kind of a horoscope, but we actually take into account the real constellations in the sky. So it gives you everything about you. Who is not muted? I muted everybody. Please stay muted, everybody. Okay. Where was I? Okay, yeah, I knew that person. So I called her up and we agreed on a time. And actually she had to cut some cords, energetical cords, and cleanse me up energetically. And out of sudden, all those symptoms disappeared. I was completely healthy. And imagine this whole procedure took about 2 months, which is really strange for a teacher because, I don't know if you know, but as a teacher, you can't be ill because you have to teach. For a couple of days, your colleagues are going to step in and go into the class, but there is not another teacher like you because who step in, they have different subjects to teach. Yeah, so you are really needed. So it was not a great situation. And then I went back to the GP and smiling, and she said, oh, what happened? And I told her, well, I used some kind of alternative method. It was difficult to tell her because she was against all this kind of stuff. And I knew that about her. She was just the pills, but those pills didn't help me at all. And then she examined me, and she said, "Yeah, actually, you are good. You can go back and work." So that's my story about energies. And keep in mind that illnesses are not, well, some illnesses are on the physical level only, but most illnesses are on different levels. And there are three main levels. There is the physical level. Let's call it emotional level, the other one, and then mental level, the third one, like belief systems. And many times all three of them are involved in the illness. But definitely emotions, the emotional level is always involved, I would say. And you have to treat all the three levels to really become healthy again. So that's one of the reasons why it's much better to use alternative methods. And of course, it doesn't have to be Qigong. Herbal medicine is also very good because it has an effect not only on the body, but on your emotional state and on your mind as well. Just think about Bach therapy. That's flower essences. And also, just a second, what's that called? Homeopathy. Homeopathy? I'm sorry, I might not have the right pronunciation. It works on the same as well. And Qigong is great because it works on all these three levels. If you do Qigong exercises, because Qi is energy, it works on all energy levels, on all layers of the aura. And that's why it's so good. Have you, any of you, had any experience like this before I move on to talk about the next? Okay, I can see your hand, Lisa, so unmute yourself, but please, everybody, use the reactions and that yellow hand because it's easy for me to see then. Please go ahead.
It wasn't me personally, but it was my daughter. So at age 11, she had it usually something like this. See, I had to study this for the last 5 years to help her. So that's all I did for the last 5 years. Oh. So she's in remission now.
Right.
But she became sick after, it's often started with a virus. So she had a virus, and I also noticed she had some trouble with friends from school. That's another thing, is basically the way I've learned it is it's a limbic system impairment is one way, one lens to look at it through, where your body gets sick, and they say that the purpose of your body is really to keep you from dying. So it ends up trying to keep you safe by making foods, like it starts your autoimmune system. Hers started with, she had like a chronic fatigue and a chronic migraine, and she got tested for celiac disease by a natural doctor because Western medicine wasn't helping at all. And she did have celiac disease. And at first we thought that's all it was. And we were so relieved. And when she went off of wheat and gluten and changed her diet, she got well. That was her first of about 4 remissions. Then we thought she was well for several months. She was okay again. But then she got sick again. She had, they labeled it so many different things. POTS syndrome. If you go to one type of doctor who knows about POTS, they might call it POTS syndrome. And if you go to a doctor who knows about mold, they will say you have mold illness and you need to move out of your home. We never had to move out of our home. if you go to another doctor, they'll test you for Lyme, and the tests are all inconsistent results. And they'll say, I think you have Lyme. It looks like you have some of the markers. And if you go to some other doctor, they'll say it's metals, it's from heavy metals. Or if you go to another doctor, they'll say it's your laundry detergent, it's toxins. But the bottom line is, it could be any and all of these things. But the problem is that your autoimmune system found one thing it was sensitive to, and then it went into this overreactive state where it started reacting to everything around you. We did something called NATE, where they desensitize you. It's like an energy healing where they desensitize you one at a time to grains, and then for a while it was dairy. For a while she was sensitive to rice. When you have food sensitivity, some people think they last forever, but actually they change like every 6 months sometimes. Some of the most basic ones, not celiac disease, that's a harder one to change. I don't even know if you can change that one. Some NATE practitioners have changed that one. But basically the way they describe it as, you have this bucket and it has its limits. So at some point, the toxic bucket, you might be just sensitive to grains, and then it might be dairy, and then it might be sugar. And they'll talk about parasites in this. They'll say you have parasites, you have Lyme. Your autoimmune system's supposed to handle all of these things, but it's in a state of fight or flight, and it's labeling all these things bad. Not all of them, but she would have certain things that would make her sick. Like for a while, she'd be sick of anything with rice or sugar, anything with wheat and dairy. So you would have this chronic inflammation. She wouldn't be able to go to school. And of course, I went to the general practitioner and they said, oh, she's your last of 3 and you're just letting her stay home because you're by yourself. And she didn't believe me. It was horrible. She couldn't see anything wrong with my daughter, and my daughter couldn't get to school. She'd say, well, she made it here to the doctor's today. And basically in the end, my daughter did go through several remissions, but then if she got stressed, like one time her friend group all ignored her and she got sick again. So she's well right now, but there were so many times where she could barely walk. And nobody understood it because they would see her when she went to a party and they would say, well, you look good today. And that was annoying for her because she had rested. She had slept all day so that she could go to that party that evening. She would feel better in the evening. And it also is, oh, I'm sorry, what you're going to say?
How old is she?
She's 16 now. And she's figured something out. I mean, there are systems that work on these chronic illnesses that have to do with the autonomic nervous system and the autoimmune system and the vagus nerve. There are different vagus nerve exercises and energy healing and different ways to approach it. And any of them can tap in and get you back out of this state of being in this burnout where you have no energy. But one of them is the Gupta method is a popular one. One of them is the Gupta method's the original one, and he has studies to back it up. He also does meditations, and he uses neuro-linguistic programming. If anybody here is sick, that one's not a really expensive one. Dynamic neuro.
Let's come back to Qigong, yeah.
And Qigong, that's another way, but we didn't try that one. So
I got it.
Yeah.
I would like to explain is that, as I said, you can try many things. That's true. But Qigong works on so many layers, different aspects at the same time. That's why you can get really quick results. That's one of the things. The other thing is that with children up till 14, you shouldn't test them, but up to 7 years old, you should treat the mother, and from 8 to 14, you should have a look at the father, because children take over things from their parents. You might not believe this, but actually it's 95% of the times that's the case. That's why I asked how old she is actually. Now the other one with the vagus nerve, I know that now it's booming everywhere among doctors and so on. But vagus nerve, it also stores the emotional traumas we had during our lifetime. And it's connected to nerves, sympathetic, parasympathetic. In a previous session, I explained that, how important it is to get back to the parasympathetic mode or the relaxed mode, because our body is capable of healing itself completely, whatever illness you have. However aggravated the situation is, it can heal itself if and only we are in the relaxed mode, because then it can allocate the energy to the healing process. And when we are in the stress mode, then our energies go to the muscles, and we just actually overuse all our energies, and then the body takes the energy away from our main organs like kidney and heart and so on. So they get really sick. That's the process. That's why it's so vital to get back to the relaxed mode. Today we are going to do an exercise which has an effect on the vagus nerve, and also relaxing and filling you up with energy, and helping all those inner organs to function well. But it's later on. You reminded me of containers. We have so-called containers in our auras, energetical bodies, which are the dust, not the dustbin, which are the bin, let's put it this way. And while we are growing up, we put everything, every garbage in these bins. There are several parts of our body in our auras. And by the age of about 40, all these containers start filling up completely. And then the rubbish overflows. It's like, when you fill up a glass, with water, let's say it, put it simply. And when you reach the bottom, then it starts overflowing. And that's the rubbish within our energetical system. It starts overflooding everything. And that's why so many people say that up till I was 45, I had no problems. And suddenly I had so many illnesses appear from nowhere. It's not from nowhere. Up till then, the containers were filling up. But then they started overflooding everything, and that's why they got so many serious illnesses. Now the different techniques start scooping the rubbish out of these containers. Like some methods have just a teaspoon, working with a teaspoon. Other methods work with an enormous spoon, so to speak. Others with an ice cream scoop, and there are others which work with that big I don't know the proper English name, the big spoon with which you take out the soup and you put the soup into the plates. That's much bigger, and then it can take out more stuff. And there are even extreme methods like just turning the whole container upside down and let everything go out. Now that's really dangerous, because the body, our physical body, can handle a certain amount of cleansing as well. So we have to be careful how much cleansing exercises we are doing, because it can be overwhelming as well. And then the body says, okay, rest, and then you get the flu, you can't get out of bed, you have fever, and so on and so forth. Many times, especially with flu and symptoms like that, it's just the body telling you, hey, you didn't listen to me to not work so much, for example. You didn't listen. I gave you signals like tiredness and so on, but you just kept on going on. Okay, I will put you into bed. And if you don't listen again, then you will get maybe pneumonia and you will have to stay 1 month in bed. And maybe next time you find yourself in hospital, because you have to go inwardly and change things inwardly. You have to change your habits, your attitude towards life. That's why I say that when you are ill, it's not just about the physical body. Yeah, it can be that you add something which contains poison, for example, and then you have bodily symptoms, but it's never by chance why you add exactly that that food. It's never ever by chance. Even though it seems to normal people that, oh, that's the clear reason why I'm ill at the same time. Hi, Steve. You can leave your camera on because on the recording, it's only me. Nobody else is seen on the recordings. So please come back. Hi. I hope this is clear now to everybody. And as I said, as I mentioned before, this is why alternative methods can be much better and work quicker. Some work very quick. Qigong is one of them. You can have results very quick, really. Now I'm doing 4-week course for spine and pain, all kinds of spine issues and severe pain. It's a free course, actually. I put the event up on Mind Valley as well before it started, but now it's closed. People can only join the waiting list. And this is the 2nd week. And already last week, after 3 days of practice, and they just had to do 15 minutes a day. It's not that much at all, 15 minutes per day. And already on the 3rd day, or the 2nd day, they already gave me feedback that their neck is getting better, their pain is residing, and so on. Because we work with energy, we don't care. Actually, it's strange, I know, because in the modern world, you have specialists, even on the alternative way, like, oh, I'm so good with working with the lungs, respiratory problems. I'm good at, I don't know, renal issues, kidneys. But actually, to be honest, it's all about energy. It doesn't matter what kind of illness you have. It doesn't matter at all, because it's the body that heals itself, and there are 3 brains in the body. This is the one that everybody knows about, and we think that we create everything from here. It's so far from the truth. Now, in English, maybe many of you already know the term secondary brain. It's the guts. But actually, it's not just the guts, I mean the intestines, but the secondary, this is the spine. And before the spine, you have the secondary brain, it's tissues. And from that tissue, you have, let's say, hanging the kidneys, your liver, your gallbladder, your intestines, small and big intestines, your pancreas, all those inner organs. And it's your secondary brain that does all the job. You have no idea how it happens in your body. The secondary brain is in charge of all that, like how you swallow the food you're eating, how you, let's say, digest that food in your stomach to become very small pieces, then how you push forward. And then again, there is another kind of digestion, because the fluid from your pancreas and from your gallbladder go in there, yes, and that's already a highly alkaline base, because in the stomach you had the acid, yeah, and here you have the highly alkaline base, and then it moves on to your small intestines, where it's it is absorbed and then carried on to all your cells. Do you know how that happens? Not really. Now imagine you don't even know how all these things happen, or your breathing, what happens exactly. Yeah, we know a lot mentally about it, but are you in charge of that? Do you direct it from here, from your mind? Would you be able to pay attention to so many different things going on in your body at the same time? Nope. And our secondary brain does all of that. And our secondary brain is in charge of allocating the energy as well, where it's needed most. And of course, Qigong is connected with energies. So we help the blockages to cleanse out. We give energy to the secondary brain to have energy to work with. And as soon as it has more energy, it says, oh, great, let's mend those things that need to be mended within the body. And there are already some articles about the secondary brain coming from doctors, and I'm glad that they realize how important that is. And as I mentioned, there are a lot, yeah, Faz, I see, let me finish this. There are also articles about the vagus nerve, and they already talk about the vagus nerve being connected to emotional trauma. So now, let's say the Western medicine is kind of like making a curve and going back to the ancient teachings, which is good in a way. I'm glad about that. Faz, what did you want to say?
Hi, yes, sorry to interrupt. I was just thinking in terms of the secondary brain, did you say the secondary brain is in the gut, or did you say there's the secondary brain around the tissues around the brain being the secondary brain?
The tissues, this is your spine.
Uh-huh.
In front of your spine, those tissues are the secondary brain, and all your inner organs are coming out from those tissues. But in some papers, they call the guts the secondary brain. And in other papers, they already call the whole thing the secondary brain. And the third version is when they only talk about the tissues behind that, they call the secondary brain. When I studied alternative medicine,
Mm-hmm.
We had to study the organs as well. And that's always taught by doctors. And our teacher, so to speak, because he was a doctor, he specialized for operations, like inner organs, yeah, like a surgeon. And so when he was young and was already studying at uni, he had to go and help a professor, yeah, who was doing the operations. And he said back at that time, he is now over 60, they had to cut up your belly, yeah, and then they had to carefully take out all the small intestine things because they had to go under them, because from your belly first you have the intestines here, and behind the intestines you have your inner organs. So they have to take out all the intestines first carefully to the sides, so that, for example, they can reach the appendix if they have to operate that, yeah. And sometimes they saw that there is some kind of tissues stuck together, so to say, and they thought that it's a bad thing. And as they were there already, they cut that part out as well. And with that, they took out the secondary brain from the person. Now they don't do that, of course, because now they are aware how important that part is. But back at that time, they had no clue about the secondary brain. So even though doctors don't talk about this, I mean, at least surgeons know about it they have known about it for many years now, at least 20.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I know, like, when I've looked at the autonomy of the spine, you know, where every single lumbar is
Mhm.
connected to different organ parts, isn't it? So for example, when there's chiropractic treatment, etc., they target specific uh, points in the spine that are connected to specific organs, and that's
Okay,
where
I'm not talking about that because that's the other side. This is my spine. This is the outer side.
okay,
What you are talking about, and what I was talking about is the inner side.
inner, okay, right, inside, okay, not on the outside, okay,
Yeah.
right, okay, that makes sense now. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Mantak Chia talks about that he's a great Qigong master, and on YouTube, maybe if you put in his name and secondary brain, because I know he has a video on it, and it's good because he has all the images from Western medicine as well. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, all this topic, and there's another issue with peers I have to talk about, and I know this from doctors again. Not long ago, all the peers, the medical peers, were made out of natural ingredients like herbs or trees and so on. But because, let's call it, big pharma came on, they wanted profit, huge profit, they examined those herbs and the ingredients the herbs had, like chemically, and they said, okay, let's produce that chemical in laboratories artificially, because that's much cheaper and it can be done in huge quantities, because in nature you have to wait for that plant to blossom, for example. You can't collect them in winter. And doctors, that's why in the earlier periods didn't have that many side effects in the body like they do nowadays, because our body cannot absorb what is synthetic. And we put another burden on our whole system. That's why many people have got all kinds of allergies, which were mentioned, or autoimmune diseases, because autoimmune disease means that the doctors have no clue what's going on, actually. They just put a term on it, and now they talk about different kinds of autoimmune disease. And with peers, they just treat the symptoms, so to say, but they have no clue what caused the symptom, what's the original, the root, the cause of that illness. And that's also very important. In ancient times, GP, they knew everything about the family. If somebody was ill from the family, it could be the child or the mother or father, it didn't matter, or grandparents, because they lived together in one house. The GP went there and asked about everybody. What happened? What changed in the family? What happened to each person? Because they knew that everybody is connected within the family. And there is someone who is, let's call it, more sensitive, who then takes on all these issues and gets ill within the family. And unfortunately, going back to the peers, that's the problem with them today, that they have so many serious side effects that you get, instead of getting better, you get worse. You have other illnesses then, because they kind of destroy your liver, they destroy your kidney, and then you have to take other pills, and then you end up with 10 different pills, and you can't work. So that's the other thing why it's much better to use alternative things. Of course, there are cases when it's, I would say, you immediately go to the doctor. Like if you are in an accident, yeah, then they take you with an ambulance to the hospital and they stick your wound together. But you know what? In ancient times, people did that to themselves. My stepfather did it to himself. He was in a small village. I don't know what happened, but he had a big wound. And he knew that he has to sew it together. So he heated a needle, a simple needle, curved it so that it has this shape, put a thread in it, and made 3 stitches without a painkiller, without an injection, because he did it on himself. In ancient times, people knew what to do with sick people. The doctor went to the village only once. It was not like we have small, tiny issues and we immediately go to a doctor. And I think that we have to acquire some knowledge back. We have to take our health into our hands. We have to know what could help in what cases. Especially nowadays when you have to wait for a specialist for half a year or even 1-2 years. Yeah. Yeah, I talked about our body's self-healing process and Qigong exercises, how they help them. I suggest if you have any questions, you can ask now. And I'm going to show you the exercise I planned for today. And we do it. And then you're welcome to share your experience connected to that. Okay? Yeah, Lisa says they end the illness in syndrome if they don't understand the cause. Exactly. Amazing information shared. Thank you, Faz. The root causes are ignored. Yes, unfortunately. Although in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, if you go to a doctor, to a TCM doctor, they never care about the symptoms, but they go for the roots. What causes it? Because energetically, the cause is never where you have the symptoms. Let's say that you, what shall I put? Kidneys. You have extreme pain in your kidneys. In TCM, they say that the kidney is weak because it didn't get the energy it needs, but the blockage is somewhere else. And then they go on to find where the blockage is and to dissolve that blockage. And of course, this can be done by acupuncture. It can be done by herbs, taking herbs. Moxa is very famous in eastern part of the world, and of course Qigong and Tai Chi exercises. Yes, exactly. Artificially they can patent it, and that's why what I see in the last 1 year, they started withdrawing some natural herbs from all the shops, saying that they are dangerous and they don't allow shops to sell them any longer. And the list started building up. More and more herbs are on that list, unfortunately, because they can't patent herbs because they just grow in nature. Oh, that's good. Body is GPS map, and when we don't hear it out, then we get sick. Yeah, exactly. California is here as well. And Indonesia. Wow, cool. All right, no questions? Nobody? Okay. Then I'll show you the exercises. I have this because it's quite cold in here. There is no heating. Downstairs there is heating, but it doesn't really come up here. So I have about 14 degrees Celsius in here. But it's really good to sleep in, I have to tell you. Anyways, the exercise. We talked about the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve can be accessed the easiest here, where your navel is, around your navel. That's the part of the body where the vagus nerve is closest to the skin. And there are very different exercises we can do. I'm going to teach you just one, which I learned in China. And the Chinese masters call it Fu. And it's very simple. You just put your palm on your navel and the other palm on the back of your hand. But I show it to you like this. You put your palm on your skin, actually. So not on your clothes, but on your skin. And then slowly you start rotating around your navel from top to the right, to the bottom, to the left, and you continue like that. This is called counterclockwise. Yeah? Slowly you just rotate your hands. That's all you do. It can be a little bit bigger circle or just tiny circles. It doesn't matter how it's good for you at the moment. While you are doing that, please pay attention that your spine is straight, as if there is a string up here holding you from the top of your head, so that your spine is really straight. And look inwardly. Just pay attention to your body while you are doing this circling movement. Lisa, this exercise is highly recommended to your daughter. While you are doing that, I also add some other information about this exercise. When I was in China, there was a guy, 20-something years old, and he had diabetes 1, a very severe one. He took insulin 3 times a day, actually, injection. And the Qigong masters told him to do this exercise every day for half an hour. Besides our group practice, of course, which was at least 8 hours a day. And which is impossible if you ask a doctor. He could leave the insulin completely, the shot. His blood sugar level was normal, completely normal. Just do the exercise at the moment, please. I see your hand. And in the third month, he even fasted with us for 2 days. It means non-stop 2 days. Of course, he checked his blood sugar level several times a day, and it stayed normal during those 2 days as well. So everything is possible. Your body can heal itself completely. Okay, you stop at the top and we do the other round from top to the left, then to the bottom, to the right, and back to the top. And this is clockwise. And pay attention to your body. Okay, we stop now. Of course, you will be able to do this exercise from now on every day, but let's see what you experienced. I'm going to start with Catherine because she has her hand up. You have to unmute yourself, Catherine.
I got the answer. I got the answer.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you. Uh-huh.
And what about your experience during the exercise?
I could just feel, I couldn't see anything, but I could just kind of imagine just energy moving in a circle, and that energy releasing something out, just kind of little vibrations that are kind of going outward.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have to add here that you don't have to imagine anything. It's for
Okay.
everyone. You don't have to
Okay.
imagine anything. You just pay attention to your body. Like when you go to the cinema, you sit in your chair and you just watch the screen in front of you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I'm in my head too much.
Probably.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
I talk about that another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all this is new to me. It's all brand new to me, and so I keep going down all these rabbit holes, learning a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's just like there's so much I want to learn that I can't grasp it. So I find myself being anxious because I want to learn. I want to know it now. I want to be healed now. I want to, just move forward. So.
Actually, what's good about Qigong is that you don't have to understand, you don't have to know what causes it. You just do the exercises and be attentive and see how your body changes and heals.
Okay.
It's really
Okay.
great for that.
Mhm.
I'm going to put in the chat my Telegram group where you people can reach me if you don't know. I have to find it and put it in the chat. You're welcome to connect with me, okay? So let me find it. Anybody else sharing your experience? No hands up. Are you shy? You're not going to be on the video. Don't worry about. What? Imagine that Zoom wanted to send my message to the waiting room and it signaled that there is nobody in the waiting room. But of course, I don't want to send it to the waiting room. I want to send it to everyone in here. Here we go. Funny. Okay, Faz.
Hi, thank you so much for this exercise because I think I really, really needed to hear this today. I needed to hear everything that you had to say. And I think it joins a lot of dots for me and it makes a lot of connections as to what's been going on with my health as well. So, and what Lisa also mentioned as well, I think it resonates with a lot of things that I've come across in life. So, when you say in terms of like the actual exercise itself, I can feel myself holding a lot of like emotions in the abdomen area, you know, the solar plexus, the one that we've just worked on. And there's certain times in the like menstrual cycle, for example, PMS week, especially 2 days beforehand, or even the day beforehand, it gets so tight in there. It's like all the emotions are just like literally just stored there, like, you know how
Exactly.
you mentioned about the container.
From ancient times, they talk about the solar plexus.
Mhm.
You collect all the negative energies there in that chakra, so to say, and then it goes onto your liver, gallbladder. So you get here, and after your liver, gallbladder, then you have problems with your pancreas, and then it goes down to your kidneys.
Mm.
That's how it
Yeah,
happens.
and that's interesting you say that, and I think it's good to catch it earlier on and work on it as soon as possible and do whatever is required in order to release that energy. And I think this exercise we've just done, there's a lot of times that I do clutch onto that area, and I have been doing this exercise within a lymph massage routine that I tend to do first thing in the morning. So it is part of my lymph massage in the morning, but I do realize that throughout the day, in like during PMS, it does get quite tight. So I do have to do it a good couple of times. So thank you so much for sharing the proper routine in terms of just specifically the solar plexus, because I only used to do it in one direction. This was like in two.
Okay, I have to clarify that this is not around the solar plexus, but around your navel.
Mm.
Of course, solar plexus is involved as well, but it's just the upper part, yeah? And the other thing is that it's not a massage. You don't press. This is just light movement, like when you cuddle a little child.
Okay. So
Yeah?
it's soft movements, is it?
Yeah, very soft movement. Yes, so you should pay attention to that. Yeah, lymphatic massage is also good, going deep in there, but this
Yeah.
is different. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
the circumference that it covers, is it like a good amount around the navel, or it's with the whole palm, isn't it? Palm and the fingers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but as I said to everybody, maybe you just move your palm a little bit around your navel like that. Now maybe you feel that you have to move on a bigger area. So let's
Yeah.
side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I need to go more like, rather than cover a big area, because obviously that, the circumference that I'm covering, it actually makes you feel good. But for this exercise, is it more just around the navel?
Listen to your body.
Okay.
Yeah, really trust your body because it knows better.
Okay. Yeah, like I actually mentioned in the comments, your body is the GPS map system.
Big.
Thank you for reminding me of my own comment.
Yeah, cool. All right. Can I move on?
Thank you. With that, I'm complete.
Thank you. Craig? Thank you for the hi.
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 A couple things. I don't know if you are looking, you obviously weren't when your eyes were closed, but a bunch of people, a handful of people put questions in the chat, and I did too at first, but I'll ask a couple of them here. One of them, I think I just.
Oh, okay. I'm going to look there as well, but
Okay,
I'm not two people
fine,
at the
great.
same time. Sorry.
While I'm on, thank you very much. I have a couple probably in my head questions. I thought you were supposed to press fairly hard in the counterclockwise, clockwise, but I guess what I heard you say is you just a very light, gentle touch in the circular motion.
Yes.
Okay. Then the two questions I put in chat were, and I guess it's probably listen to your body, but having never done this before, what approximate speed? Is it like very slow? Is it semi fast?
Slow.
So like how long? Like a couple seconds for a whole revolution, or? I have no
This is your brain. Forget about your brain. Forget your mind. Yeah. Just listen.
I'm gonna do it right.
Come down to your body, okay, and just do it slowly.
Okay, but slow is relative. I'm a science guy. I could take 10 seconds for one thing, or I could do it in a minute. I could do it in that, but they're both slow.
Okay. Then your goal is to slow down as slow as you can.
Okay. And then lastly, you might have said this. I had a bad connection. Is there any special or specific breathing instructions while we're doing this? Because I know breathing can be important at times.
No, you would pay attention to different things, and it's very important to pay attention to one thing.
Okay.
So don't care about breathing now. Yes, there are Qigong exercises where you pay attention to breathing as well. This is not that. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm new to all this. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine? I'm going to the chat as well after Catherine, okay? Everybody. You have to unmute yourself, Catherine.
Question. I can't remember. Which hand is touching your skin? Does that matter?
Nope. Whichever hand comes to you. I know that there are different schools. For women, you have to do it this way, and for men, you have to do it that way. Don't care about it at all. And you will realize if you do it on a regular basis that sometimes it's your left hand, sometimes it's your right hand.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay. Any other thing?
I forgot to say thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So let me.
I appreciate this.
Thank you. You're welcome to join every Monday. Let me see the chat now. Very relaxing and a lot of energy moving with this exercise. Yes, definitely. I think it's going to require patience. Yes, for the Qigong exercises, because people nowadays are used to like flying from one flower to another, shiny objects, and doing several things all at the same time. And here you just have to pay attention to one thing, do it slowly, and be present. Yeah. 30 minutes a day is good. Yes, Steve. Yeah. But you can start with 5 minutes. It really depends. But to have really good results with Qigong, 30 minutes is kind of like minimum. It really depends on what kind of illnesses you have, what kind of issues you have, how serious they are. for example, now I'm running 2 courses at the same time. One is early morning. I go live in a Facebook group and I do exercises, and it's 15 minutes altogether. People do that with me, or they do it later during the day when they have the time, and they share their experiences. So it's only 15 minutes every day, but they have huge results. It can happen, but if you have serious illnesses, you have to do much more. Like I mentioned, when I was in China on retreats, we did 8 hours every day. Yes, there were people who had stage 4 cancer, arrived in wheelchair, and on the second week she walked. And we saw another woman had about 12 cancer, lumps here, lymphatic cancer, and she was in extreme pain. And during 3 weeks, all those, they were big like eggs, all of them disappeared in front of our eyes. So yeah, things can happen, but you have to put yourself in as well. Okay. Used to the quick gratification. I need to slow down. Yes. Okay, let me move on. Okay, breathing techniques, I told you about that. Wendy, I wrote the name down in the chat as well, Mantak Chia. Yeah, somebody answered, Lisa. Thank you for answering, Lisa. Yes, we switched from anti-clockwise to clockwise. You have to put on your alarm. Yeah, let's say you put on for 5 minutes and you do one direction for 5 minutes and then you change to the other one for 5 minutes. Yeah, many plants have healing powers. Yes, it's good if you start learning them. I mean, the ones that you have where you live and how they were used in ancient times. TCM and Ayurveda are amazing in the way of focusing on root cause and self-referral. Yes, they are. And I would say Qigong is much better. Sorry, I still use herbs. Don't get me wrong. I have essential oils as well. Oh, by the way, essential oils are really good. You just put 5 drops in water to evaporate. You don't have to take them in like inwardly, because through the skin, they come into your body and they have the effect. But with Qigong, you don't have to find a cause. You just do the exercises and let your secondary brain do the job. Now you know about the secondary brain. Amanda, thank you for this wisdom. I have been practicing Qigong for the last 3 months and I am learning so much during each class. I have great new questions for my teacher. Yeah, you are also welcome to ask them here, Amanda. Amazing information shared. Thank you. Okay, I guess I saw all the comments. Thank you, Faz, for putting my group link in again, but I shared in the chat. Everybody can see the chat. So from there, you can click on the links and you can join the group. I also put in my YouTube channel where I put up the videos. And every Monday, you can join me live on Zoom. All right. Thank you all for coming and joining me in this session. I'm deeply honored and I'm glad I could help you. And see you next time. Okay? Bye.